Hello everyone, my name is Uthris, and welcome to some Hydroneer. I'm over here on my ATV, going over to the homestead right now to show you guys what we have been building on streams over on kick.com, and I figured making a YouTube video is a good way to kind of let you guys know that, streaming content is still happening. You can check out our Kick channel here lately to find me live over there, so you can see things like this get made real time. It is a bit of a long project to get this thing built up. We got a nice little A-frame wooden garage here with just some basic lighting, just enough parking for either 2 trucks or a truck in the ATV that I use to kind of putt around wherever I see fit. The lighting, the electrical lighting is pretty cool. It's not something I normally messed with in Hydroneer, but I think it turned out all right. There's no refueling point or anything. I still just use buckets because I don't know, it's just not that difficult to use. And this is what I have spent so many hours trying to build. This is all legit saved, no creative mode, nothing like that. No easy mode here. Everything was purchased one at a time, placed here, and cleaned up after the fact. So this is my nice little 2-story cottage with a little cellar. We have a little path using some of the pillar and column stone details here to kind of fill out the stone path out front. We got a little garden to the right side, the cellar there in the lower right, and then the main entrance to the left. I really like the fact that I was able to use all 3 building pieces types outside the greenhouse, which is the 4th, but it didn't really fit what I was going for. I really like it. We got a good, nice stone foundation. This is pretty prototypical Uthris build quality here, up to a wooden framed structure up top. And then that 3rd, where you kind of just use the standard, almost the cabin pieces, just to add a little bit of a break, especially for this overhang and everything, and how everything overhangs out, just to give that little room a little bit more openness, a little bit more space. And it's just lovely. I really like the way this turned out. Over here is our little garden, which is turning out pretty good. It takes so long for these things to grow. I just spent hours and hours just letting the game run and then coming back and watering them from time to time. But I'm glad we have a little bit of a garden here. The path work kind of turned out very good for us. The little lanterns around the garden, I think, look lovely. It's a fun little detail to have in here for sure. And then over this way, you can see I actually dug this whole thing out using the mole. And then when it came to building the house, I was like, oh shoot, I need dirt. So I had to hand place every single voxel of topsoil back onto here, which was a little bit of a treat to do. Get an audiobook, because that's what you kind of need for something like that. Down here, a little bit of a cellar, just storage room. We got some fishing equipment, spare piping stacked up, spare tools if you need spare tools, and storage. A little bit of some energy crystals also. So not much to really write home there. It's a little cramped, I feel like I want to make everything almost like 1.5 blocks tall going forward in the future. If I had to rebuild this again, going 1.5 blocks, I think will make it feel a little less cramped for every story. But hey, it's all right. The stone motif over the door, which looks good. All of this, just a whole bunch of little detail pieces. A little chimney for the potbelly stove, kind of heater system that's up here, full of energy crystals, kind of for effect. Dining table in here also. And then we have our kitchen, which has our order board. It has our stove top. It has water source for the cooking pot. I went ahead and made an actual faux fireplace because you gotta have a nice big fireplace and a cauldron in here, right? To make that look good. Here's a bunch of our chopped vegetables from the farm, scale to weigh them out and everything. And of course, the water works. Right, so we can fill up things in here. We can do cooking in here. It's not too bad. It's a little tight, but it's manageable. Upstairs, up here, we have the main bedroom, which is spacious, especially with the extra little winglets to the left and right side. We got a little bit of a writing desk with a map on it, our safe to store our valuables. We got, just a double bed in here and some lanterns. So, it looks pretty good. I like the little flower planters that go on these windows now, and even the view from the bedroom isn't awful, especially since there's something to look at, like the garage, and eventually there might be a little blacksmith out there. I don't know, but I don't know. It was a pretty good build. I figured I'd make a video on it to cover it here on the channel. I do want to show you the mine, and also we'll show you guys the farm. So let's go ahead and head over there. All right, so here we are. Welcome to the mine, which is a little bit of a strip mine type, pit mine like formation. So we had this upper level here that's on these supports and everything built first, and this was to get to the bottom of the tier 1 soil. And then as we got tier 2 materials, we dug down farther down to the tier 2 soil over here on this. We're like right below the dwarven forge area, but we have a little ramp that can go all the way around here. If I don't mess that up a little bit. And here we go, boom, and you're here. So this is where blacksmithing can get done currently, because we needed a little bit of a blacksmithing area. We are currently running the mine, and everything's getting sorted. It's a very, very simple mining setup. I'm sure everyone makes one almost exactly like this to start, right? You got all your harvesters, mining drills, and then into your harvester, and then that just spits out directly into feeders, which then just ramp into these little cauldrons. Everything just runs pretty smoothly, no issue. Just using these filters to do so. Yeah, and then down below is basically the same thing. Really the only difference is there's an extra material because of the tier 2 soil, and then there is I think 2 extra drills down there. So yeah, we definitely have essentially infinite money when it comes to the game right now. So at the moment I haven't seen fit to dig down to tier 3, and I don't think I want the tier 3 mine to be here at this location. I'm thinking about putting it up in the snowy area, but the mine is pretty cool. I really like the almost oil, I guess like a dredge or some sort of oil rig platform look to it. You have this kind of raised dirt platform with all your utilities and things, and there's a ramp out back to take it down to the bottom even farther. Heavy supports, a little bit of a safety railing. Got to be OSHA certified and approved here at Urco. But overall, it's a pretty cool little mine. Nothing probably too fancy. There's no magnetic movement of items or anything like that. So, that's about what we have over here to get money and to fund all of our other creative things, whether that's circuitry or building the house or the shed, or whatever you want to do monetary wise. This is kind of where you get this stuff. And then let's go check out the farm. The farm is the least developed area, but it has one cool thing that I want to show you guys, just in case you don't do much with circuitry. Okay, so here we are at the farming plot. Now this isn't our initial farm. We actually farmed in front of the house for propagating seeds and getting all the farming kind of initial quests done so that we could afford some more advanced farming equipment. And now everything's starting to get moved over to here, and things are getting cleaned up, and it's a process. Okay, it's a big process, but farming is one of the slowest things to do in this game. But farming in real life is also slow, so I can't get too upset. What we have here, this is the harvester. If you guys have messed with the farming update at all, but this thing will harvest your crops and also resow your crops if you have seeds input into the back here. So it is a nice little powerful tool, because this is the only automation as far as I'm aware for farming, outside of the sprinkler system, which you can kind of see it way out there in the distance. In fact, we'll give you an example as to what this machine does in just a second. But first thing, let's go harvest our onions that I have over here using the harvester, which is a fun little vehicle. I really like it. I like the suspension of it. You know, the new driving mechanics and things are just something I really enjoy with the game. The game is just constantly getting better and better. So let's go through here. We'll pick up this little sleuth of onions. Now, I originally wanted this whole thing to be a farm field, but that's going to take way too much time, and I don't have time to do that right now. But as we keep coming back to Hydroneer, and maybe back to this save specifically, we can keep expanding and growing everything that we've already established. So that could be something cool to do, especially when the next big update drops. Alright, so now I have these. I'm going to take them over here to my processing plant. Now, it's a very simple processing plant. Really, this one is just to test some of the logic gates and things, because I don't really mess with that too much. But the logic is simple, and we'll give you a rundown. Basically, I want all my crops to get dropped off onto this belt, and then as it goes through, the crops get counted. Okay? And while this number is essentially less than this number, so 120, this magnet sucks them up and keeps them and turns them into seeds. Okay? So this is our turn into seed routes. Once the count gets to 120, the magnet turns off and it goes down the chop route. So conceptually, it's pretty easy, but the kind of coding structure in this game is kind of interesting because it's all kind of physical connections, right? So here's our logic gate to compare the count to our set value that we're looking for to turn off the magnet. Once it is over, it can only send a certain value. It can't send nulls or zeros. So it's only going to send a 1. It's going to go up this way. It can't go this way because the one direction flag. So it's going to go this way. And it's actually going to set this value on this pipe to a 1. And when that's a 1, it'll match this one. This is a compare gate to see if two values equal. And if it equals, it's going to flip the current that's currently coming through from a 1 to a 0. Okay? Which will turn off the magnet. And then that 1, or the 0, goes up through here, gets delayed, which I could do a simple delay loop, which I might end up replacing this for. Again, this is really rudimentary logic. But it gets delayed to like 90 seconds or so. And then the 0 comes down here, resets this count back to 0, but also sends almost a return signal down this route here to reset this route back to 0, which resets this back to a 1, which turns the magnet back on. So long story short is if the count is greater than 120, turn off the magnet. If the count isn't greater than 120, keep the magnet on. Okay? And then the magnet is really the switch that governs if it gets chopped or if we're turning things into seeds. So let's turn it on. You guys can kind of see it work here. So if you hold E on this thing, all of your onions come out, or whatever crop you're doing. And there you can see the magnet. It's picking it up. And I have this slight slope here because I was noticing a huge ball of crops. It's easier to just let it slowly roll down and touch the conveyor belt so you don't get a huge buildup there. I want to change this method a little bit in the future. Some onions get through because the magnet isn't really good at picking things up laterally, so I need an overhead magnet. So there's the over 120, the magnet is off, and now you can see all of these coming over to make seeds, boom, 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 and then everything else is going down the straight path over here to our combiner, which is kind of like the gem press for vegetables. I'm just gonna compress that all up into a single harvest. Our seeds, I would normally have a basket there, but I don't have one right now to catch the seeds. And holy cow, how many onions did we get? It might even reset the count before we're done here. We'll see. See if that 90-second delay is enough. We got over 300 onions in one harvest, which is pretty nice. These farming tokens are really a big pain to get because of everything. So 341, and once this turns to 0 from 341 or 1, sometimes it's sent to 1 or 0. It kind of depends on how it's working its way through. That's when I know that the magnet is essentially turned back on. As it gets delayed, you know, currently the signal is probably just like in this loop portion here. There's the 0. Light gets turned back on. This was like a troubleshooting thing, just to see if we get a signal through. And now if I go back here, you can see this is now 1. The magnet's turned on. It can accept essentially the next batch of crops. So it's a cool little thing, you know, farming in this game. I would say it's the most time-consuming thing, because it just takes that long for crops to grow, and the seeds are very expensive compared to the tokens that you kind of get for doing some of the initial quests. It's just very, very slow process. But as you get more automation built up, it becomes a lot more manageable, especially the sprinkler system up there. But yeah, that is our Hydroneer save in its current state. Again, I've been streaming this over on Kick.com. Also been streaming other things over on Kick.com. So if you guys have been wondering, where has Uthris been? That is where I have been. And as we build cool things over there, I'm going to occasionally upload a video over here to YouTube, just as a little one-off, just summary as to what we've done. And then if you guys want to chat live, just look for me over there on Kick. So with that, have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys in the next video or stream real soon. See ya.